Happy Monday evening, everyone. Scoop family, Buckeye Nation. Hope all is well at the beginning of the week. Coming off a beautiful, beautiful weekend for college football. If you're a Buckeye fan, and if you're a Michigan hater, it was lovely and some big upsets and all of that. And so we're going to talk a little bit about where the Buckeyes are and how we're flying high and taking a look at our schedule and things like that. But also, you know, Michigan insiders and media and boosters and whoever else are melting down. We definitely gonna talk about that. Delicious tears for sure. But also, before we get started, please hit that like button, that thumbs up button. Hit that now. Please subscribe if you haven't already done that, and hit the bell for notifications so that you will see us when we go live on your phone, device, whatever it is. All right. Also, remember when you give a super chat, it helps to go towards our pay it forward, which is military, first responders. We're going to take care of them because they take care of us. I'm going to bring Nevada in immediately. What is up, brother? How you doing this fine Monday evening?
And I'm doing so well. I feel like Biff Poggi at the Golden Corral buffet. That's how good I'm feeling right now. So yeah, it's a good time to be a Buckeye, and yeah, it's fun. As enjoyable as Ohio State's success is, Michigan's failure brings me equal joy. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I must admit it. And
Yeah.
they're doing nothing to diminish my joy. They're sucking, and I love every minute of it.
Absolutely. Speaking of Biff, I had to make a meme, Nevada. So this is Sharon Moore. Yes, Biff will be coaching while I'm suspended for lying and cheating. Hey, butthead, how many timeouts we got left? Back to 8-5. For all you Back to the Future fans, I had to do it. It's just fun to me. I thoroughly enjoy goofy stuff like this. But yes, the only other Biff I've ever heard of in my life, for real, Nevada, is Biff Tannen from Back to the Future, the greatest trilogy ever in cinema history. We can debate that.
Uh, I'm gonna here's an admission by Nevada Buck now. Nevada Buck,
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna say this. Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies
Okay.
of all time. One of my favorite movies of all time. And I'm a big movie head, as you're aware. I got a background in film and entertainment. Love the movies, love everything about the movies, everything. I have never seen two or three.
Are you serious?
Never seen
Oh,
Back to
bro,
the
you
Future
are
2. I mean,
tripping, tripping.
I know the references. I get some of the plot line and stuff like the Gray Sports Almanac. I get to never seen the
Oh my
movies.
goodness. Chat,
I
please get
I
after him.
I don't know how. I don't know how because I'm a movie head, man. I go to the movies by myself in the afternoon. I'm like that guy that goes. I mean, I'll go to the. I love everything about the movies. Never saw two or
Oh
three.
boy, Nevada, I am brokenhearted. Listen, I am a
Yeah.
huge Back to the Future fan, like huge. And so like literally quote all the lines. And so I don't know how you escaped it. I mean, even with all the reruns and every time it comes on, I mean, you never stopped and just watched
Well, pieces, like a little piece here, a little piece there, but
pieces.
never the whole thing. Like never the whole thing. And again, I'm this is gonna sound weird, but like I'm fascinated by the idea of time travel too. Like time travel, any movie with time travel in it, I'm all about that. And so that's why Back to the Future one of my favorite movies of all. Just seen that movie 500 times. Never seen two or three.
That is one
Never.
of the most bizarre because and it's not just because everything you just said just made it worse, Nevada.
I
I
know.
mean,
I know.
literally, you love time travel. You're a big movie guy. You love the first one, but you have not sat down in
I
all of
know.
these years
In
to
all these
watch
years,
2 and 3. That is just crazy to me. Listen,
I
chat,
know.
we have to shame him. We got to
I know.
bring back shame to society. Shame, shame, ding, 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 shame for you Game of
Oh.
Thrones people. Bro, you have to carve out time before 2025. You got to promise me, Nevada, before the ball drops for 2026, you will watch 2 and 3. Can you promise me that?
Yeah, can you tell me what streaming app it's on or something like that? And I'll find it. Because I don't want to watch
Honestly,
it. I don't want to watch it with commercials or anything like that. I want to watch it. I want to watch it all the way. You know what I'm saying? Like
man,
I
that is
do.
such a crazy question because it's just like so readily available. It just seems
I
like
know. I know.
let me see. I don't think it's on Netflix. You know, Netflix will like they'll rotate having just random old movies on and then they'll take it off. All right, so when I pulled it up, it's well, it says YouTube TV, Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video. You have Amazon.
Okay, I have them all. I have every single streaming app that you can have.
Yep. So it's on. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me put two because I just put the first one. Okay. Yep. So Hulu, Apple TV, Amazon Prime. So yeah, there you go. You got it.
Okay, I
And
will
it's
watch it.
Netflix too.
And I'll give a review. I'll give a review.
Oh man, that's just crazy. But I'm excited to hear your review 30 years later
Yes,
about the movie.
yes, indeed. I'm ready. I'm
Oh
ready.
man.
But that does not spoil my enjoyment. Look, I know everything about Biff Poggi too. I mean, I know Biff was he was a head coach at Charlotte. They were very excited about him having. If you guys don't know, Biff Poggi is the new head coach of the University of Michigan right now because Sharon Moore is on his self-imposed suspension for cheating and lying and all sorts of chicanery. He's the only head coach in Division One football under a show cause, and so now they've got big fat Biff Poggi as the head coach, and in his one head coaching job, he went 6-16 and was fired after 2 years at Charlotte. So this is the guy that is now the head coach of the University of Michigan. So that's he's pretty formidable, pretty scary that they got him. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of other schools were lining up like, "Hey, we need to get us some Biff Poggi," and he's like, "Nope, I gotta go save Michigan, man. I'm gonna bring my magic." And his thing is he wears like sleeveless tank tops. That's kind of his thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? He's a big fat guy that wears sleeveless tank top. And I'm like, how Michigan is that? I mean, that guy was born to be the Michigan head coach. So yeah, I think he's perfect for it, and I'm excited that he's gonna be there when they go into Nebraska, and he's gonna have to coach them to victory at Nebraska. How much difference does a head coach really make? Not a lot, but it's not it's a distraction and not a great one, and we'll see how much it affects them.
Yeah, that's the whole Biff Poggi thing. I mean, even Michigan fans are just kind of looking at their message boards, just like, you know, but like you said, I mean, I guess the bigger thing with and we can let's just get into it first. Let's dive into the Michigan stuff first, then we'll hit on the Ohio State stuff. So the suspension details are very weird. So my understanding, Nevada, and correct me if I'm wrong, his suspension, Sherrone Moore's suspension, doesn't start until this upcoming Saturday morning, which means he can coach this entire week, get ready for the Chippewas, and then his suspension doesn't end until the following week or the following Saturday after Nebraska. Is that correct?
I I believe that is what I've been told. I believe that is correct. Um, as crazy as it sounds, because it sounds wacky. I mean, but the whole thing was wacky. The idea of they're giving him two games, not games one and two of the 2025 season, and then a game in 2026. I mean, this whole thing is just craziness that they went with it. So yeah, it doesn't make it's right in line with that they've come up with this wacky scenario where he can coach till Friday, but then he's out the next 2 weeks. So he's out the week, the bye week, I believe, like the entire week he's out, and
Yeah.
it's just a crazy whole thing.
That's funny. Colonel Ingus said the team up north got the worst punishment ever handed out by the NCAA, keeping Moore as a permanent playoff ban.
It's true. I'm telling you, I said I'm gonna go on. I'm telling you, they will never make the college football playoff with Sean Moore as head coach.
Mm.
That'll be my bold prediction. You can cut that, do a super cut on that, and we'll see if Nevada Buck is proved prophetic on that. But I'm calling it right now. He will never coach a college football playoff game at Michigan. He'll be long fired before they ever see the light of day on that.
Hey, I'm not going to bet against that, bro. I'm not. I mean, listen, last year's loss to them was more about us being goofy and the psychological factor of being cheated for the past 3 years and the pressure and the hate and harassment, everything else that came along with that. That was more about us than it was about the genius of Sharon Moore. Okay, because I know that's the clapback from Michigan fans when we get on Sharon Moore. That was not about Sharon Moore. That was about us. Okay, that's done. That is over. Okay, that natty run gave Ryan Day the Bruce Leroy glow. and I believe he's going to go up to Ann Arbor and handle business. And the rest will be history as we go forward. But yes, Sherrone Moore is not a good coach, and you can see the Michigan fans waxing eloquently about it. And so I'm pulling up Steve DeAce's Twitter right now, and I'm going to read what he said. So he said, Michigan Monday thought, top 2 goals of season are competing for playoff / Big Ten title and developing Bryce. We had a freebie that didn't count in Big Ten to grow Bryce and completely punt it. That is coaching malpractice. Now we go to Nebraska still not knowing his limits. Then he follows up and says, this likely won't go over well, but we are better off going 5-7 with a truly established offensive identity around Bryce. We can immediately sell to portal recruits, portal/recruits, then grinding our way to 8-4 and Duke's Mayo Bowl. Sherrone's fate is tied to Bryce. What are your thoughts on that, Nevada?
Oh, I mean, I think there's some truth to it, but
did I lose you, Nevada? If I lost you, go ahead and get back in and I'll bring you in. But Nevada started off saying, there's some truth to that. And so I kind of heard people have similar takes earlier today, okay, as far as there being truth to that. I do think there's truth to that, but I just want to remind people before this game, okay, people like Steve Dace and other Michigan insiders, here we go. All right, you're back, baby. Where you at? Let me see where you at. Just go ahead and chime in when you get back in. All right. So before this game, y'all, let me remind y'all, Michigan message boards from MGO blog to On3, 247, Twitter, Steve DeAce, Portnoy, all of these people were saying that, Nevada, you back? All right, we're going to wait on Nevada. All right, listen. They were saying playoffs. They were saying they're going to beat Ohio again, and Ohio State's not, is going to lose 3 or 4 games. Some said 5. We got a 5-loss season coming. Okay, that was the consistent take from Michigan fans. Okay, they, in their minds, they were very confident they were going to throw money at this freshman kid coming in from high school to be their savior, to lead them to the freaking playoffs his freshman year. So that has been their take. Give me a second, make sure I can get Nevada in. Yeah, that has been their take. So it's like these takes from Steve DeAce now, it's like, okay, there may be some validity to it, but let's just not cruise past what y'all said before this. Nevada, you there, brother? Still struggling. Still struggle bussing. You there, brother? Hey, keep on trying. Keep on trying. We're going to keep it going. So listen, I see these takes, and I guess my point is we're not just going to race past that. We're not going to race past these takes. No, you're going to eat that, okay? This is supposed to be a playoff year. This is supposed to be, Ohio State finally going down. Hold on real quick. All right, keep trying, Nevada. Having some technical difficulties getting Nevada back on the show. But anyway, so listen, I'm enjoying their misery right now. I'm enjoying their meltdown. I'm enjoying Dave Portnoy's meltdown. That's why I put him on the thumbnail. Nevada, say something if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Boom, there you go. I kept adding you to the stage, and I kept saying, yo, you there, and there was nothing. So I'm glad you are back, sir. But
you lost my rant about Bryce Underwood. I think I think that probably broke the internet at that point.
Yeah, so you cut out after you said there's some truth to that. You cut out right there. Well, so I didn't get to hear none of it.
if you change the jerseys and change Bryce Underwood and put Lincoln Keenholes on his back and said he was a 3-star kid from South Dakota with a big arm, that just kind of went out and threw the ball, would everybody be that excited about Bryce Underwood? And the answer is no, because I mean, what has he done? He throws the ball hard, and that's all he does. That's all. I
Yeah.
mean, he's problems off the field. His conditioning is questionable in the training room. He's fighting with teammates. He makes questionable decisions on the field. He sprays the ball around. His mechanics suck. So what are we all excited about? And what in the world are we all? What are we? So this delusion from Michigan that all these portal people were lining up to play with Bryce Underwood. The only reason they'll do anything is because Michigan throws the bag at them. And if
Yeah.
you're making a team that's made up of guys all getting the bag thrown at them, you know what you're going to have? You're going to have what they have, which is a hot mess where guys are fighting in the locker rooms, guys are fighting with the coach. And let me tell you, there is huge turmoil going right now. The Bryce Underwood's camp is fighting every day with Sherron Moore, with the offensive staff. He's a diva in the locker room. He's completely distanced himself from other players. I mean, they're just a mess. They're just a complete and total mess right now, and that's all on this cash over culture thing. And so am I worried that they're going to surround Bryce Underwood with weapons and he's going to weaponize? No, because he's got $1 million body and a nickel head, and there's nothing about him that's scary. And certainly under Sharon Moore, it's a disaster. You're seeing all the bad sides of NIL being played out in real time with the Michigan football program right now, and that's where we're at.
Yeah, and look, again, this is Michigan's fault, man. Like, I think the kid could be really good. Okay. He does have some tools, but to your point, Nevada, like, all he can do is throw the ball hard right now because he's a freshman. He's a freshman, a true freshman. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't even had a full season. So it's like the expectations heaped on this kid from Michigan is ridiculous. Again, while you were gone trying to get back on, I was reminding people, looking at Steve Diaz's tweet, you said there was some validity to it, and I don't disagree with that. But I was basically saying, let's not just skate over the fact that they had these lofty expectations. They had us coming back down, well, not back down because we haven't been down there, for decades. But they had us, losing 4 or 5 games. They had them going to the playoffs and beating us again. They had this kid leading them to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, we're not going to skate past that. Portnoy, Steve Diaz, the Michigan message boards, Twitter, all of them was on this. Super confident, okay? So let's not forget that. But also, Portnoy, I don't know if you saw this comment, Nevada. He was on his bar stool, or I don't know if it was a bar stool, but he was on something yesterday talking about Sharon Moore's testicle list. So now he's speaking out, and and one thing about the Michigan cult, if one of their leaders says something, they're going to follow along. So there's been a lot of Sharon Moore. Hey, I posted a bunch of screenshots. I usually do something called Scum Tears on my Facebook page, and it's a fan favorite Nevada. They love it. It's basically just screenshots from MGO blog primarily of the meltdown, and so. I mean, I'm looking at these posts, and like, for example, well, it's kind of funny. The head coach is an O-line guy, and that's easily the worst part of the team and program. The defense sucks, the offensive line really sucks, and the coaching staff sucks. Most of all, here comes another awful season. Moore is soft. What the F call was that? Going in on the coaching staff again. Coach Moore is a joke. I mean, they're going in on him. Moore just got schooled, and the tool doesn't even realize it. I mean, they're just going in Nevada. And so you got Portnoy. He's a clown. We know he's a clown, but the other clowns in the Michigan fan base, they just lap it up. And so when we talk about turmoil, you got Tim Brando, like we said yesterday, who's been around for years and years and years. He's a connected dude. He was saying that there was some issues going on with Underwood and his camp and Michigan and the coaching staff and development concerns before the game on Saturday night. Okay, you got that. You got all this noise and mess with Portnoy and Steve Diggs, it's a dumpster fire. Okay. And some of these fans, Nevada, they're clinging. We got some fans saying, oh, that's just one loss. We're going to go 11-1. No, you're not. You got more losses coming. So this is a mess, Nevada, like you said. And I just wanted to call out Portnoy because I'm loving his misery right now. And last thing before I pass the mic, did you see his announcement on Twitter about how he's not going to be on Big Noon this Saturday? Did you see that?
I think that's about some previously scheduled pizza eating contest or something
Oh
like
goodness.
that.
Okay.
So I don't want to get all excited and then have. I think it was just over some stupid pizza thing. I wish it was Fox because let me tell you what. I know the Fox people. I know the Fox people personally. They hate him. They hate him. The decision
Okay.
that this was made because Fox has already positioned itself as kind of the highbrow X's and O's, the deep level discussion, that type of thing. In contrast with the game day thing that they thought was clown show, and they thought the McAfee thing was kind of a clown show, and now they bring Portnoy, the biggest clown of them all, onto it, and they feel like it's really kind of degraded the product, and that's really something else. And I think it's sad that they did that, but they did it, and that's where they're at now. They got him, and so much for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for that clarity because you know how everything is a clickbait with him. Like literally everything. And so I'm saying that because on that tweet, he tried to make it seem like it was, some secret thing almost related to the Michigan loss. And he did that on purpose, clearly, with the whole pizza mess. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, listen, we're here for it. We're going to enjoy this because on the flip side, and we're going to get to that in a little bit, our Buckeyes are riding high. We got this the for those who punt it in their minds to 2026 as our next national championship opportunity. You might want to reevaluate that, Nevada, because this year we are right there. We're going to be right there once again to grab that trophy.
Well, let me just kind of contrast. You've got we talked about the Underwood, the freshman at Michigan. Well, the freshman of the week in the Big Ten this week, Julian Sayin.
Oh
So,
yeah.
like, I mean, you can talk about true freshman, redshirt freshman. We have a freshman quarterback too. We have a quarterback with freshman eligibility, and we have Julian Sayin, and they have Bryce Underwood. Who's better? Like it's not close. Like
Not even.
it's not close. I mean, Julian has got the potential to be, generationally good. And we can all see it. We can all see when you talk about arm talent, to me, Julian Sayin has got arm talent. Julian Sayin can make every throw. He can throw it short, long, out, up, high, low, fast, slow, with touch, drop it in the bucket. I mean, and he's smart as a whip. So he's not just a one-trick pony in terms of doing it. So when people talk about arm talent for him, I'm like, to me, it's kind of like the whole JJ McCarthy thing for Minnesota. He can't throw the ball. All he does is hand off. And when he does throw it, he throws it 100 miles an hour in line. I don't think I don't understand how that guy get drafted, high in the NFL. And I think he'll not be good in the NFL. And I'm willing to go with that. And I think it starts tonight against Chicago. I think he's gonna really struggle. But with Julian Sayin's a freshman. He was freshman of the week in the Big Ten. And
Yeah.
so, I think people gloss over that thing like that. Like people think, oh, well, Ohio State's quarterback is like a junior or a senior. He's a freshman. Julian Sayin is a freshman.
First year
And
starter.
first year starter freshman, and look at all that ability. Look at that poise. Look, he's already beat Texas. For gosh sake, how do you think that Bryce Underwood would do against Texas? Like,
Oh,
are you? Oh my God, it,
oh my
it,
god.
it,
Yeah.
it'd be so bad. It would be absolutely so bad. So no, I mean, I'm thrilled with where we are. This week's game is a really interesting test because Ohio U's coming off a win against West Virginia. Now they lost the week before to Rutgers, but it was close.
Yeah.
They lost, 34-31 to Rutgers. Now, do I think Rutgers is all that? No, I don't think Rutgers is all that, but this is a decent team. It's
Yeah.
a decent team. Um, so, it's going to be a different kind of challenge, night game in the shoe. So that it throws off kind of your preparation. I'm saying you're not getting, we've now had games at noon, 3:30, and now we'll have a 7:30 game. So, we've got games all over the barn. So, I think it's a different kind of challenge. I think for Ryan Day, he's really going to try to ride the momentum of last week where they got so many guys in, so many different players had a chance to play. Really creates good feelings in the locker room. They're saying to the starters, hey, let's get after these guys again so we can do the same thing again with this one. And I think that's the goal. That's kind of the message for the week is that they've got to take another step. They've got to improve. They've got to, unveil more of a lot of times people talk about, the playbook expanding and like we haven't shown it all or whatever it was, but you saw it from week 1 to week 2, specifically with tempo. We ran tempo to great effect against Grambling, and
Yeah.
we ran some misdirection plays, we ran some counters, we ran some quarterback keep options, especially with Lincoln. So I think you'll continue to see that this week against Ohio U. And Ohio State's really challenging the guys to really get after. They always say like it's like in war, are you fighting for the flag? Are you fighting for your president? Are you fighting for the country? Or are you fighting for the guy next to you? You're fighting for your buddy next to you in this thing. And I think for these guys are saying, hey, look, be better, take this next step for the guy next to you because he wants to play too. Give him a chance. So let's get after these guys. Let's make it comfortable and let's get all guys, 40 through 80 on the roster. Let's get them have a chance to get in there and turn. But it's up to you guys in the first 40 to make that happen for them. And I think that's the message, and I think that's going to be a challenge for them this week.
Yeah, you got me ready to run through the brick wall with that speech, Nevada. But that's on point. I mean, all jokes aside, that's on point. And listen, I want to pull up the schedule again because this is what I want to get into. By the way, Buckeye Boys wants to remind us that the new nickname is Slayin' Sayin. Julian Sayin. All right, let's go ahead and get the t-shirts printed up. But so this is what I want to present to y'all. Okay, that this schedule so far is lining up so well because let me kind of give you my background on what kind of made me think about all this. So on the scoop board earlier, Funky Buck, he started a thread, or I don't know if he started a thread, but he commented in a thread and he was saying, that we could be, have one loss by the time we play Michigan, which is possible. I mean, listen, I'm not even tripping off of that. I'm not mad at him or nothing. But I start thinking about it, and I was thinking to myself, like, okay, who's that loss going to be? Now, let me go back to my thought what I was saying about as far as how the schedule sets up. So back in 2017, we lost to Iowa on the road. Y'all remember that game? 2018, we lost to at Purdue. Let me tell you, okay, I wasn't on this pod back then, but I'm telling you, the guys, the people around me on my page, they know I did this. I predicted, Nevada, the Iowa loss and the Purdue loss. Both of those games scared me. I circled them as trap games, okay? The Iowa game, if y'all don't remember, 2017 was after the Purdue game. I'm sorry, the Penn State game. That Penn State game was that big comeback game at the shoe. Very emotional. Then we went on the road to Kinnick the next week, got popped, got absolutely drilled. So I was concerned about that game even before the Penn State game. And then the Purdue game, we were just bad on defense, and it was at night. They got the sick kids waving, or no, is that Iowa? Or no. They had the sick kid at Purdue. I mean, they had all types of, bro, they had the energy, the juice, and everything to take us down, and they absolutely did it. Anyway, I'm giving you some background before I make my point here. I could see the landmines in that schedule based off the context of the schedule and even the team. Fast forward to now. I was saying, what is that one loss going to be if we have one loss? Because if you look at the schedule, I'm looking at it right now, okay? The Texas game, number one Texas. Number one, they had to come to the shoe, okay? Advantage us. All types of hype on them. All types of hype on Arch. Nobody was picking Ohio State. We're coming off a national title. Typically, the defending national champion let down. They're not as motivated. They already got their hardware. Well, that helped. All of those elements I just mentioned helped for our team to be ready to go and have a chip, right? Grambling, easy money. But Ohio, that is another potential letdown game, typically with a MAC school. But they almost beat Rutgers and they beat West Virginia. So now the coaches and the players' eyes are open. They're going to take them seriously, okay? Because they just beat a Power 4 school, All right. And they almost beat another Power Four school. That right there kind of just, doesn't allow you to just overlook, oh, just another MAC school. So that helps us out. Okay. Now follow me. I'm looking at those past schedules. We lost those games to lesser teams as trap games in between emotional games. But look at this schedule, how it's setting up. At Washington, it's our first Big Ten game. It's a road game for our first-time starting quarterback. That right there brings attention and sets off alarm bells to get you, prepared. That's not something you can really overlook. I don't look at that as a trap game because there's so much, okay, new starting quarterback on the road, tough environment, everybody knows it, okay? So you're locked in for that. Okay, Minnesota at home, maybe that could be a little bit of a letdown game, but they're just bad, and we're at home. At Illinois, they're probably going to be a top 10 team. That game is the one that scares me the most. Nevada, I'm going to stop because I don't want to go too long because I'm thinking I'm making my point, and I'm going to give you the mic. But at Illinois is the game I've had circled as a concern. But even with that game, y'all, I can't call it a trap game because they're not sneaking up on us. They're ranked number 9 right now. And if they beat Indiana, which I think they will, they're going to be a top 10 team versus us. That's going to be a big game. So we're not going to overlook them. It's going to be tough, but we're not going to overlook them. I'll stop right there, Nevada, just so you can jump in because I don't want to go on too long.
Well, the first point I'll make about the Washington game is we have a bye week before the Washington game.
Yep.
And that, those always are a great, way to refocus the team. It's hard to come out. I'm not saying we wouldn't come out stale, but I don't think you'll come out flat in a game like that. And so I like the fact that we have a week before that to get ready for that game. We got 2 weeks to get ready for Washington.
Yeah.
So I think that one takes that out of the trap game possibility for me.
Yeah.
Then you go to the Illinois game. The week before you're at home against Minnesota, so that shouldn't be a high stress game or a high emotional output game. Like you talk about 2017, literally after we beat Penn State in what might have been the greatest game in the history of the stadium. It's
Yeah.
it's up there. Say it's
Yeah.
up there. I mean, the
It's up
players were
there.
crying on the field and sobbing in the locker room, and it was just an emotional dump. And then you got to come back the next week and play on the road at Iowa. That's
Tough.
a trap situation. This one,
Yes.
you're home against Minnesota, then you go to a top 10 team. That's not a trap. We may lose, we may play bad or whatever it is. But to me, the one that could be the trap would be the next week at Wisconsin.
Ooh.
But Wisconsin's so bad.
Yeah,
They're
I
just
know.
they're just so bad. I mean, if Wisconsin was the Wisconsin of old and was a
Yeah.
good team, then a week after playing at Illinois, top 10 team, come back on the road again. To me, the at Wisconsin game's the trap game. If there is a trap game on our schedule, that's the trap game. But Wisconsin just sucks so bad that
Bro.
I mean, even if we play bad, I just can't see a world where they beat us. But will they be will they be up for it? Will their stadium be rocking? Will they be going crazy? Yes, 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 yes. And will we be a little let down after Illinois the week before? For sure, because Illinois is that is a tough game on our schedule. But I think it's the Wisconsin game. That's the trap game. I think that's the one we got to look out for.
Man, listen, you are in my head, but y'all are following me though, right? It's like we're looking again, a trap game to me, because Nevada, I don't want to say it annoys me because it's not that deep, but it kind of annoys me when people throw out the term trap game, and it's just like that's not a trap game. A game on the road versus a top 10 team is not a trap game. The Iowa game in 2017, they were unranked at home, coming off an emotional game. That is the definition of a trap game. You agree, Nevada, right?
Yes, absolutely,
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. That is the textbook definition of a trap game. So at Illinois is not a trap game. Wisconsin would qualify as that, but like Nevada said, they're so bad. And so that's why I'm even hesitant with that. So I'm like, okay, so where's the loss? So we keep going. We got a bye week. Then we got Penn State at the crib. Obviously not a trap game. We're going to be up for them. That's going to be, well, if they lose to Oregon, they'll still be ranked. But at this point, Penn State has not been impressive at all in Nevada. They look like a regular schmegular Penn State team, and they don't strike any fear in my heart. So they'll still be ranked. They may be a top 15, top 10 team potentially, but that's not. And then you got at Purdue, and they're awful, right? And we got UCLA at home, Rutgers, and then in the Big Blouse on the road. So I'm not saying we can't lose and we won't be 11-1 before we go to, to the Big Blouse, but I just I can't see. Put it like this, Nevada. I'm not a betting guy. Like I said, I pulled my first slot last year in Vegas. Like, I just don't be on it. But if I was a betting guy, I don't know if I would bet for us to lose in the regular season. I just, what do you think? Am I crazy?
No, I mean, look, invariably, we'll lay an egg at some point. Just a question of will the egg be big enough to pull us down? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because no team just goes through an entire season playing at you know, a top level every week and super crisp, and stuff happens. You remember the Iowa game? We came out and I think JT Barrett first offensive play throws a
pick
pick
six.
six, and all of a sudden you're down seven. No, but like
Yeah,
people forget we went ahead in that game. We were actually ahead 17-10 in that game. And
yeah,
then Bosa got kicked out of the game, and we were, the problems in that game were not offensively, they were defensively. We gave up 7 drives, I think, over 70 yards in
yeah.
that game, which as impossible as that sounds. But
Their tight ends
no,
were killing us
oh,
that night.
well, that quarterback had a career day that game, and everything about that was just a disaster. That's why we remember the game so vividly. But no, I mean, look, this is a really good a really 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 good Ohio State team, but it's young. It's young. You've got a quarterback that has never played a road game before as the starting quarterback, and there's going to be some growing pains with that. But no, as I am a betting person, and I'll say that we'll be favored in every game going forward. Does that mean we'll win every game going forward? No,
Right.
but we'll be favored in every game going forward. And the Wisconsin game is, these games become games when they're inexplicable, when they're terrible teams that rise up and do it like Purdue did, like Iowa did. And so the Wisconsin game's the one that would concern me. The head coach for Wisconsin is Luke Fickle. The game's probably going to be at night, or I don't know
Yep.
if they've announced the game time or whatever it's going to be.
Probably.
Um, it could be our second night game in a row. You know what I'm saying? We'll have played Illinois the week before. It's just one of those things that, if wacky stuff is going to happen, that's when I think that would happen.
Yeah, and somebody in the chat, shout out to Brian Ritchie. He said, "Wasn't Nebraska last year off of a bye?" Yes, it was. It was after the Oregon loss. We had a bye week after the Oregon loss, and then Nebraska took us down to the last minute. We had to scratch and claw just to beat that Nebraska team. So that's a good call out, a very good point. So listen, just to make it clear, I've been around a long time, y'all. I've been watching ball for a long time. I am not saying we cannot lose, but just comparing this season to the comparisons I made with 2017 and 2018, where we were favored in those games and the spread was there and we got absolutely obliterated by both teams. I'm just using those as comparisons. And in this season, because remember, I called those losses. Like I predicted them. I was scared of those games and I was proven correct, unfortunately. So this season, I'm just struggling to call out a game like, yo, this one, except like I said, Illinois, I'm a little nervous about that game, but I feel the guys will be prepared. So I'm just trying to explain to y'all. I don't think we just are incapable of losing. I'm just struggling to figure out the game that it could be because Nevada, you're right. The Wisconsin game, I want to go there and say, hey, this is the trap game. But man, I just don't know. I don't know. But you're right.
Well,
We're young.
yeah, but
We're young.
you look at the two bye weeks we're coming off. I mean, like what you worry about in a trap game is that emotionally you're not tuned in to play the game. You know what I'm saying? And Ohio
Yeah.
State's problem has not we've not traditionally been, you know, problematic getting up for big games or for ranked opponents or whomever it is. It's that unranked opponent. It's that bad team, and that's where a bye week coming off a loss against Oregon, coming into the Nebraska game last year, you could overlook them, or you could still have a little bit of a hangover from that Oregon debacle and lose the game. This year, our two bye weeks are at Illinois, and Illinois is going to be a top 10 team when we play them, and then Penn State at home. We ain't overlooking Penn State at home. Jim Knowles, all the
Exactly.
story, the sub stories in there. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So it's like I like the way that our bye week's set up, and that's not always the way it's set. The bye weeks don't always help you. Sometimes bye
Right.
weeks you can be cooking and they can hurt you. I think in this case, I think the bye weeks are set up perfectly for us. I think they help us at just the right times. And I actually tough schedule, but I like the way the schedule's setting up for us.
Yeah, exactly. And the way you just summarized it is one of my other points. Tough schedule, but I like the way it's setting up for us. And that's kind of what I want to hit on. It's just like the tough games and so-called trappy games, it's like there's a positive caveat for us to be able to mitigate that. You know what I'm saying? Like again, the Ohio team, that's one of them games where you could potentially, sleepy Mac game. I know it's at night, but it's just like, okay, but they got their attention. So I think there's just things in place to help this young team to not fall asleep. And that's why I'm just like, if we can get the possibility of getting through the regular season unscathed is, I think, a little more possible than usual times with a young team because of the points that I'm making. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Somebody in the chat said they're the one that scares them the most is Washington. Listen, that's at Washington. I've never been there, but for all the people that have, Nevada, you said, have you been in that stadium before? I think you have.
Yes, I've been there
Yes.
several times. I actually was there when they played the last two times they played Ohio State. I was
Okay.
up there at stadium, and yeah, tough place to play. But again, we're coming off a bye week. They're not, that first road game, man. I'm telling you, they'll be jacked for it. The players will be
Yeah.
jacked. They get out there and they get the opposing fans booing them and getting out there. They'll be excited about that, and so I'm not worried about that one. I'm really, I'm not that I look. I worry about every game. I worry about this
Yeah.
week against Ohio U. I am genetically bred. I've been a fan too long to take anything for granted. And after last year's Michigan game, I will never say that we cannot lose a game because that was the worst Michigan team that we've ever played, and then they beat us in the horseshoe. So I never say never, but I think Washington will have our full attention, and I think a fully motivated, attentive Ohio State team is going to be a very difficult out for anybody.
Yeah. And see, again, like when you think about the scariness of at Washington, there's just stuff you just keep mentioning that just takes away some of the fear. And so, but they got an athletic quarterback who can run. Okay. He's fast, he's athletic. Now listen, overall, the talent comparison is not close. It's just not. But on the road at night, first time in that environment, let's say Sayin throws the ball, it's chipped and intercepted. You know, how do you come back from that? It's one thing where Ryan Day was saying he wanted to see how he responded to the interception against Grambling in the friendly confines of the shoe up 28 to nothing. That's not as much of a task as it is, let's say, being down 7-0 at Washington after interception. How do you respond? Do you get rattled in that environment? It's loud, it's raucous. They want to beat you. You're number one. You know what I'm saying? Like they're ready to rush the field. They're all bloodthirsty. How will our guys react? And so, will they be focused, locked in? Yes, I believe that. But this is going to be interesting to see what this team is made of, man. Because how you try to talk yourself out of believing. Like I believe in this team that they can do great things this season, but I know they need to be tested and all that. But man, this schedule sets up so nicely for us, man. That's it, Nevada.
Yeah, well, no, we're going to face adversity, and like you're exactly right. The question is, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it when stuff goes bad? Do you guys stay together, or do you start fighting on the sideline like Michigan does? And I'll tell you, we will not see an Ohio State team turn on each other and have fist fights with the quarterback on the sideline and stuff like that. That's a Michigan thing. We'll keep our cool. We'll battle through whatever. And I have full confidence because let me tell you what, that all comes from the quarterback. They always say a fish rots from the head down. With a quarterback, if your quarterback's a cool customer, the rest of the team doesn't get rattled. And let me tell you what, Julian Sayin is a cool customer, man. It
Yeah,
takes a
he is.
lot. He does not get rattled, man. So I'm not saying he was going to be perfect. I'm not saying he won't be bad some games or whatever it is, but he will not be rattled. I mean, yeah, he takes it as it comes. He's played in some very difficult environments, And he just always gives off that. You remember how McCord used to give off that kind of that aura of nervousness, like he was
Yes.
always always
Yes.
nervous and always like Saying's the anti-McCord. He just like it's okay, whatever it is, whatever the situation is, he's cool, and that's generally the way he rolls.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Kyle McCord, man. Listen, I didn't hate the kid. I defended him in certain instances because to me, I don't have anything personal against any of these kids, especially. If I feel like somebody's going overboard with a bad take, I'll address it and defend because I feel like it's logical to do so. But he was definitely skittish in the pocket. He did not exude confidence. And I'll tell you, I will never forgive him. I don't know if y'all remember this play. Tell me in the chat if y'all remember this play. It was at Indiana where we ran a Q draw. Was it a Q draw with him or did he? No, it was a Q draw. And there was a gaping hole for a touchdown and he cut left. The CBS announcer was marveled. Do you remember that Nevada bug?
Oh yeah, yeah, it was blocked up beautifully,
I
and it
wanted
was
to
like, yeah,
strangle him. Like, what are
yeah,
you doing?
yeah.
Like,
Well, that was when we were on a 3-year run of not having a rushing TD from our quarterback one, and he had a chance to break that, and he went the wrong way, and it was really bad because the other way he just walks in and he just ran to darkness. So
it was so weird, man.
yeah.
Real quick on this super chat, Kevin Newby, do me a favor before we get to it. Can you clarify what you mean? I'm not sure what you mean. I want to try to address it in the chat. If you're still here, please clarify what you mean on your comment. But anyway, yes. So to your point, getting back to Sayin, okay? Yes, he not only has Coach Day said it, all right, and Coach Day is not in the business of just giving out unwarranted compliments. Okay. CJ Stroud and Kyle McCord both told you that he coaches the QBs hard. He's tough on the QBs. Now, we may not have seen him yelling at CJ on the sideline as much as he used to yell at Kyle, but CJ did say he yelled at him in practice as he got, but CJ, he got better and he didn't need to yell at him as much because he was just, once he broke in, he was killing it. But I'm saying that to say the stuff he's saying about Sayin, is sincere because he just doesn't do that as a QB guy. He's not about to compliment you if you haven't earned it. And when Day tells you his confidence is there and he's processing, he loves how he processes and how he can handle more. I mean, we're going to see it in the Washington and Illinois environments, but I think we already have a taste that, listen, man, that dude is just going to sit back there and throw darts. And our O-line, Nevada, has been really, really good with pass pro so far. That's one thing that hasn't been talked about enough. Yes, we need to clean up the run game a little bit, even though we were a little predictable, to your point. But the pass pro versus Texas, I mean, Grambling is Grambling. Me and you can hold the line for the most part, but that pass pro against Texas, plus his coolness, that's just lethal because our guys are going to get open.
Well, I mean, number one in the country in fewest sacks allowed 0 and tackles for loss 1. Um, which is a crazy stat considering, before the season. But this is not, revisionist history. Before the season, I was laughing at these top 25 list for offensive lines that didn't have Ohio State on it, and I
Yeah.
was saying I think they could be the best line in the country, and I still feel that way. I feel, and now, do I feel like our running game's where it needs to be yet? No, but I think that's a combination, and I wrote this on our board today of I don't think CJ and Peoples have been as good as they need to be. I think our running plays, especially in the first game, were predictable due to down distance situation, field position, etc. And third, we haven't activated the quarterback run other than Lincoln
Yeah.
into the running game. So I think if we clean those things up, then I think we should be in good shape. But yeah, from a pass protection standpoint, man, they're giving him time and making it easy on Julian, and that's a real plus for us.
So real quick, we got a super chat that we'll get to real quick. The last thing, unless you got more, I want to ask you and the chat because I was talking to a buddy of mine. We were kind of debating over the play, over the interception. I mean, he really didn't like the play. He thought it was a terrible play design. He just didn't like it. There was no tight end outlet or anything like that from what you could see on the play. And I was basically saying that I didn't mind the play because they were in man coverage. Okay. They were running to what looked like sort of a rub route, or even you would call like a switch, right? Where you're trying to get the defenders to be confused on who they're going to pick up on the route. Okay. And so I didn't have a problem with that because to me, the bottom line was that he was late. And I want you to weigh in on this, Nevada, even in the chat. To me, because here's the thing, here's my logic. They're not going to run a play in the game, in my opinion, unless they execute it correctly in practice. That's just logical, right? So they had to do it correctly in practice to where they felt comfortable with playing it. Running it in the game. So I think, that product we saw was just a bad version of what actually works. And so if Sayin lets go of that ball earlier and throws it out, like Tate is open, like he's there, like, but he waited way too late. So chat, Nevada, do you think that's true? Did you rewatch that play? And we're probably going to go over that tomorrow when we look at film, y'all.
Yeah, we should definitely go over that. But yeah, no, what I heard is that he just double clutched. He didn't trust it, and then he went to it late. And it's one of those ones that inevitably that stuff happens sometimes. Sometimes you don't trust your eyes, you don't trust what you're seeing. Maybe the receivers didn't run the rub exactly the way they did in practice, and the guys didn't get the get off. But yeah, that's a pass that shouldn't be thrown. But let me tell you, Julian is like a supercomputer, man. When he makes a mistake, he files it away. He knows he will not make that same mistake again. And that's what I love so much about the guy is that he's just, he's a fast processor. He's a learner. And if you're going to make a mistake, make that mistake in a Grambling game that you end up winning 70-0.
Yep, exactly. All right. So we got a super chat here. Kevin Newby. So he clarified. Thank you for clarifying your comment. This is so funny, Devada. Before I read this comment, this is the third person who has told me that they saw me at the game. I did not go to the game, y'all. I must have is there a B. Moses doppelganger? Kevin Newby said, was that you? He said, was that not you guys they showed in the crowd before kickoff at the Grambling State game? This is the super chat comment, but he revised it in the regular chat. But Nevada, were you there at the game?
I was not at the game, but what I was told is that there was a very handsome man at the game, and I think that it was B Moses. I think people were like, "I think it's B Moses," and I'm like, "Well, he is very handsome, so it could have been." You know what I'm saying? That it was either Denzel or B Moses. You know what I'm saying? So no, but yeah, no, I don't know. You must have a doppelganger out there, but I'm telling you, he's a very handsome man and tall, very handsome and tall.
Yeah, and strapping young man.
That's right.
Yes. Getting my equalizer on. I was there, looking like the equalizer. But no, that's so funny. I don't know. That's weird. Like 3 people. This is the third person. And Kevin Newby, thanks for the 199. This is the third person. One person, actually 2 people on my on socials hit me up and asked me if that was me. I'm just like, man, y'all should have took a picture. I'm curious, but no, I was not there.
The Denzel equalizer, not the Queen Latifah equalizer, not the television version, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we want the Denzel, the Denzel, not Denzel from Flight either, because that was that was
yeah
that was trippy. Not that one.
Not that one.
That was a trippy movie, man. That was well done. Talk about movies that are well done. That was well acted and well done.
Yes.
That was you could feel it, man. You could feel it.
It definitely was. Stilly Matt, man, you a fool, man. He said, B Moses, it was me wearing your do-rag. Listen, I'm telling you, one day I'm gonna be brave enough to come on this camera with my do-rag, rocking my do-rag. Some of you might clutch your pearls, okay? But we're going to get through it together as a family, all right? Because the reality is we wear do-rags to get the waves popping, to get it crisp. That's just what we do. So I might have to bust it out, man. It's just, surprise y'all. Craig Bowman said, B, show that Riz. We'll see. But listen, fun show as it always is. We are going to continue to sit back and bask in the gloriousness of our Buckeyes as they continue to just get ready for every week. And remember, as me and Nevada, I know when I was on Sundays with Funky and you were doing your thing, one thing we always said that we were in unison about is appreciate and enjoy every week. We only have 12 guaranteed. Now, we're going to have more than 12, but you get the point, y'all. Buckeye fans, we are in such a wonderful place. Despite whatever letdowns and things that didn't happen that we wanted to happen, we have a natty, and we are in position to get another one if this team continues to stay healthy and just stay locked in. And then, of course, the team up north is just unraveling on all levels. And so let's just enjoy this. Enjoy it. It doesn't matter who we play. Ohio, I might you might see me at that one. I might mess around and go to that one just because. But we'll see. But anyway, Nevada, any last thoughts before we bang out?
No, it's great advice, man. These seasons go by too fast. The games go by too fast, and there's only a handful of them. So enjoy every single one of them, and enjoy that this week's going to be a different kind of challenge, but it's going to be a challenge nonetheless. Let's see if we can get better and get it done.
Absolutely. So, yeah. So with that said, love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Stay positive, and we'll see y'all next time. Go Bucks. Peace.